special tools.
Hey.
And we will pick one of you. What is this? Sometime in December when the United match comes. We'll give you a little time to kind of build up. But we think it'll be a great holiday gift for one of you, lucky fans out there. Oh, here we go. Sam is back. You want to introduce our guest? Bring Stuart in? Ron?
Yep.
Or Sam? Go right ahead.
Very good friend of mine, Stuart Wilder's. Nice to have you along here, mate.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Really appreciate it. And great show, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll lead off. I mean, you've been watching all this all day, following it here, following it there, following it wherever you follow it. Just start with your impressions. Thomas Partey is an Arsenal player.
It's amazing. It's amazing. We've been crying out for this type of player for years, and we finally got our man. And, you know, I reflect on the midfield options we have now at Arsenal, and it's really exciting. Thomas Partey has the ability to be a transformational player for Arsenal this year and for future years. Imagine the power, the speed, the athleticism of Thomas Partey in that midfield, sat next to Granit Xhaka. It really is. It is mouth-watering. This, for me, has been one of the best transfer windows for Arsenal for years. So excited.
Gentlemen, take at it. Run at it. Have at it.
Yeah, Stu, you've been very confident in our WhatsApp group that we have on WhatsApp. So how come you're so confident with these deals?
I don't know. I guess I'm the eternal optimist. Those that know me know that I have no negativity towards anything in life, especially not Arsenal. Maybe my green screen, don't know what the hell that's doing, but hey, can't have everything in life, can you? Works perfectly fine normally, but hey, you guys get the gist of it. I was trying to be clever.
We can
Clearly
see
went
it.
wrong.
It's good. We can see the logo. It's all works. It's all works.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the shirt. Who knows? Who cares? I'm just always uber positive when it comes to Arsenal because I don't understand why you get up in the morning and be negative. I really don't. I look at what the things Arsenal are doing. I look at the decisions we're making and I compare them to the decisions we've taken over the years. And, you know, there were probably some years gone by where you'd look at the business Arsenal will do and you think, well, that's just a stopgap. That's just a player that you're bringing in just to get us from A to Z for a short period of time. And then you're going to sell that player on, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're going to find that you can't get a buyer for that type of player and you're back to where you are. What I'm actually seeing from Arsenal now is something really exciting. I'm seeing proper management. I'm seeing proper structure inside the club. I'm seeing youth players being brought forward, who are actually really exciting. I'm seeing a proper structure in the youth department. I'm seeing a proper legend at Arsenal, Mertesacker, leading that youth academy. And I'm seeing a proper legend in Arteta. Two players who have lifted FA Cups for our club. And I can't believe what I see on Twitter sometimes. I can't understand why people are so negative. You won't get a negative bone out of my body. I really just look at Arsenal and think, if we want to do something, we are a gargantuan club. And, you know, that old phrase from, Sir Raoul, that when Arsenal knock, it's a different kind of knock. It really is true. Arsenal are a different league of club. It doesn't matter if you finish 8th. Arsenal will always come back and Arsenal will always be fighting. And that's what we are as a club. We're a fighter. And I don't like seeing negativity. I've always believed Arsenal will do the business. We all wanted an hour, didn't we? I understand something might be going down about 9 o'clock online from some of the tweets I've seen in the last hour. I don't know whether that's just normal ITK rubbish or whether that's actually true, but you just don't know. And do you know, it doesn't actually matter if we don't sign Auba. We've got the players coming through the ranks who can cope with the pressures that are needed in order to deliver at the great stage. Partey is a transformational player. He's what we need. We haven't had a Vieira type since Vieira left the club. That's fact. We've tried all different types of formations, different types of players. The days of where we were begging for Francis Coquelin to come back on loan, just to enable us to get a defensive-minded player in that midfield. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Those days, that ship has sailed. Those days are gone. We've got a player here who, bar Thiago, who is of course now at Liverpool, a player who I think is phenomenal. We've got a player who has an average of 2 dribbles per game. He's one of the top players at take-ons in La Liga. And I think he was in fact second behind Thiago. You've got a top player. He's tall, 6'1". He's athletic. He's strong. He's fast. He's a fantastic ball recoverer. I just think this is a phenomenal signing. 45 million euros, people.
It's a great deal. It's bargain. Incredible value for money, in my opinion. Same as Gabriel. We've done incredibly well to get Gabriel and Partey for less than 70 million, in my opinion.
It's incredible business. Yeah, absolutely. But, we should really praise the club. This is an opportunity for us to rejoice in the right positive decisions that the club are making. Gabriel for 27 million, Harry Maguire for 80 million. I know which player I'm turning to. Gabriel will make mistakes. And I fear that the moment he makes a mistake, we'll all jump on the negative aspect to it. But he will make mistakes. He's still a young guy. He's 21, 22, 23. He will make mistakes, but he will learn from them. I'd rather pay 27 million for a player of that ilk with that high of a ceiling and give him a chance. Saliba, he's going to probably, I don't know, time's running out. It doesn't look like he'll go out on low, but maybe he'll go to a championship club over the next couple of weeks before it slams shut on the 16th. And he needs to develop in the English league. But I fully believe he's going to come good. And we've got two really good young centre-backs. When 18 months ago, we were staring down the barrel of Socrates and Mustafi as our first choice. And there has to be a reality check at some point. You really have to look at that and think, where have Arsenal come over these last 18 months? And it was dreadful. How slow were we at the back? And how many mistakes, how many individual errors did we make? Mustafi alone would make at least one error a game and get crucified for it. But actually he's getting proper coaching now. He's getting proper defensive coaching and looks a decent player. And you look at that back line now, you've got Gabriel on the left, you've got Mari, who, by the way, I actually think is totally underrated. And I think a lot of people criticizing 16 million. Yeah, 16 million euros on a backup left centre back is good money. And it's a good deal if he comes off. We haven't seen enough of him to know whether he will yet, but the potential's there. And on that right-sided centre-back position, you've got David Luiz, who is going to be here for another year or so. He's got to be there because he's got to bring the young players through. And he's got cover with Mustafi, probably now Socrates, unless he's going to leave in the next hour or two. That's pretty good. And don't forget Holding. That, you can understand then why Saliba might leave for a year on loan to a championship club to get some experience. It makes total sense. There's real rhyme and reason about the club now. And if you can't get behind it, you need to choose a different side.
I'll ask a quick question.
Please.
You go for me.
I see a certain ex-gunner has had his contract terminated. A certain Jack Wilshere. We all know that he did agree a pay-as-you-play contract when Wenger was here, but obviously left because Wenger went. If the opportunity arises for pay-as-you-play, would you?
No, I wouldn't. Because I think that ship has sailed. I mean, we all love Jack Wilshere and we all had such high hopes for him. I mean, he's a real Arsenal man. Remember the day he stood over the side of the bus and, asked, what do we think of something or other? It's legendary stuff. But I think as a player, I think his career is probably at the end, really. I'd like to see him step down a level. I'd like to see him play a few more years while he can and then get into coaching. And I would welcome him back at Arsenal. I think there is a coach in there. He's been at Arsenal from the very beginning. He understands about growing up. He understands the growing pains of football. He understands what can happen with a bad injury and how to get through it. I think there's a real story to be told to some of the younger kids there. I'd love to see him back in the fold. And I imagine he's the kind of character that Mertesacker would embrace and would love to have as part of the youth setup.
How closely, Stuart, you were talking about all these youth players, and it's true, everything you've just said about the legacy from Edu to Mikel down to Pear at the youth level, and of course Steve Bold is there too with the under 23. But how closely do you follow the kids?
Not as closely as some. I'm going to be honest. So I watch the same clips you guys do, and I know some. There's a good friend of mine, Kev, who tends to study the kids, and there's a few other big accounts that study them as well. I just watch the clips, and some of them, Aziz looks a fantastic prospect, doesn't he? There's 2 signings today that have come through. I was quite interested to learn that is it Rekik? I can't know if I've pronounced that correctly. Yeah. But they're talking about him training with the first team rather than the under-23s. That's really interesting. I don't know whether that's a short-term thing. Maybe. And I wonder whether he's going to train for a period of time and maybe go out on loan. That's a possibility. But, I watch the under-23s when I can. But, I don't follow them as closely as some do. So I'm not going to profess to be an expert. But I will say this thing. I will say if Mertesacker, who I do believe in, and Arteta believe we've got a great crop of youngsters coming through, I think we have to be excited, don't we? I think there's one player in that list that, there's been a lot of talk of this summer is Bellerin, and his future hasn't been resolved yet. Will he get a loan? Will he sign on for another contract, or will he be sold? I guess we've got another 2 weeks to find out, but it'd be a real shame because, maybe his pathway's blocked with Nketiah. Maybe his pathway's blocked even more now, so that Moller's arrived from Sweden. But it'd be a real shame because he seems prolific at that level, and that's what you need. And as we've seen with Nketiah, you can find a way into that team. And Arsenal actually has got to be a really great example for young kids coming through. And actually, there is a pathway into the first team. Give it a try. Stay with Arsenal. Go on loan. Learn your trade. Play against players who are picking up mortgages, who are going to charge into you, going to slide tackle you. You're going to learn about real football, not what goes on in the training ground. Earn your position in that team. And Nketiah, Nelson to a lesser extent, Willock, they've all done it, and all credit to them. It's great to see a pathway through. That's what we've been missing over the years. And also, when we talk about selling players, and not all players make it. Great example is Auba. Also, Theo Walcott was picked up as a young kid from my neck of the woods down south, went on to do great things at Arsenal. His career's plateaued, possibly nosedived ever since he's gone to Everton. But we sold them for decent money, Auba especially. And so it's a great way of creating a revenue stream for the club and enable us to invest in other areas. So, yeah, it's looking good. And I like what I see.
Who's next?
I was just going to say, Stu, who's been your standout player so far this season?
I think there's been a number. I'm going to start with Gabriel because I just think he's been absolutely enormous as of a player. I mean, bringing him in and there's a lot of talk about players not adapting. We spent the whole of last year talking about Pepe not adapting to the Premier League. Gabriel seems to have taken it like a duck to water. We're just a few games in, and he's been. I thought he was our best player by an absolute country mile in the last game. I know. Leno got man of the match, but I thought he was our best player. I thought he was our best player in the game before. And he's just, for me, he's a transformational player too, because we've looked for a left-sided centre-back in order to be able to spray those balls forward. And look at the range of pass he's got from right through. I mean, it probably says something about our midfield, but the range of passing from left centre-back to the front three has been just so obvious. It's been bypassing Xhaka and Ceballos and El Neni to a certain extent and hitting those front three from left centre-back and also from right centre-back with Luiz. I think Gabriel's been my best player. I've also been impressed by Willian. I think he's done okay. Obviously, the first game against Fulham was phenomenal. Then he's dropped a bit. But I think he's a good 7.5, 8 out of 10 player. I think that's what you get from Willian every game. And also, I think I've got to give a nod to Leno. Yeah, I think the whole of Twitter universe, Arsenal Twitter universe, wanted Leno to fail. And I mean, that says something about Twitter, Arsenal Twitter, quite honestly. But Leno has been fantastic. And the comments that he came out with about, I know I'm the first choice, and I'm the best, I'm going to be the best. I mean, talk about a comeback. He's what a player. And that's the kind of attitude you need. That's a winner's attitude. When I saw him being interviewed and he spoke those words, do you know what I immediately thought of? I thought Jens Lehmann. I know they're both German, but I thought that's the kind of arrogance, that's the kind of character that makes you a top goalkeeper. And you look at that spine of that team now, top goalkeeper, top left centre-back, top now defensive midfielder, it's not defensive midfielder, centre midfielder, top striker in Aubameyang. You've got a phenomenal spine of that team now. And if we're not challenging for top 4 this year, it's not going to happen, is it? Very positive about this season.
I said,
Go ahead,
sorry, Ref, I was
No,
going to
no, you
say,
go.
I said not so long ago, in a team that needs to be successful, you have 5 elite players and then you have good players around them. I genuinely think Leno's elite, Gabriel's elite, Tierney's elite, Partey and Aubameyang. I think that's our core elite players. How would you see that? Would you agree?
I agree with you. Tierney, yeah. Sorry, I forgot all about Tierney. That's how good he is. He just does his thing, doesn't he? I couldn't believe that Roy Keane thought he was average the other week and not good enough for Arsenal. I mean, nonsensical. I agree with you. I think all the players there, I can't really add any more to it. They're all elite. They've all got fantastically high ceilings. You've got an elite striker, best striker in Europe, possibly the world. And the fact that Aubameyang was comfortable enough to stay with Arsenal should tell you about what's going on at the club. You know, we've had many, many years of turmoil where players have left the club because they didn't agree with the strategy. They didn't agree with the vision. Do you remember Robin Van Persie saying, didn't agree with what was being proposed? So I was happy to go to Man United. I mean, that was like a dagger to the heart. Not Aubameyang. I bet you had the same options. I bet there was at least one club in England who were in for him. Of course they would be. And given he had 1 year left on his contract, probably 25, 30 million, or maybe slightly more, but in and around that ballpark might have twisted Arsenal's arm on deadline day. Not Arsenal now. Arsenal was signing him up, making a big song and dance about it and making him our leader. You know, you are the guy. You're the guy that's going to take us to the promised land. You've got a great young coach that's got everything to prove, who wants to deliver, who just 6 months ago was saying, I'm not here to paper over the cracks and win a few. I'm here to win it all. You know, I'm here to win the Europa. I'm here to win the Champions League, and that's his objective. I couldn't believe when I saw that. I thought, is he a joker? But actually, when you actually watch what he does and how he holds himself, I can best believe it. If I wasn't an Arsenal fan, I would be really worried by the direction in which Arsenal are going. We are on an upward trajectory. We're getting the right players in. We've got the right types of players in. We've got the right manager. I totally buy everything that Arteta says. My wife's in love with him. She can do what she wants with him. Carte blanche, not an issue. I think it's a fantastic opportunity. I just think we're in such a great place right now. And just think where we were 12 months ago, guys. 12 months ago. That's all it was. You know,
yeah, we had just lost to Sheffield United away from home.
Exactly. We've just beaten Sheffield United, and you know, it was a dark season last year, and we deserved to finish 8th. We were awful for the most part, but there was a shining light at the end, and we won a cup, and then we won another cup. You know, so I just go back to my original point at the beginning. I can't wake up and be negative about this club ever, even in the darkest day. But I can, without question, see light at the end of the tunnel. I think this is a really positive new dawn for Arsenal, and we should all be incredibly optimistic. I'm very excited. Be excited.
Stu, just touching on the Sheffield United game that we've just won, we saw Aubameyang up top, in the middle.
Yeah.
Moving forward, do we keep him in the middle? Do we put Lacazette in? If we're putting Aubameyang through the middle, to what effect does that affect Nketiah? And what order would you have the pecking order?
I mean, I'm going to go against the grain. I like Aubameyang on the left. And, that's a slightly controversial pick, because I know a lot of people would love to see him as a striker, but I think he likes it too. I think he quite likes that role. And we haven't got the player on that left-hand side to replace Aubameyang. You talk about elite strikers that can play off that left. You know, Henry did it really, really well. He liked to come in. He'd play centrally sometimes, no different with Aubameyang. If we ever buy a left winger, and I don't think we will, because I don't think that's how we want to play. I think the structure to our game is we play the right-hand side as the winger position, Pepe example. And on that left-hand side, where they're looking for sort of almost like a second striker to come in and cut in. I don't see Aubameyang losing his position. I think the big question is where you play Saka. And I thought for some time that Saka could be a really fantastic choice as a central midfielder. I think he's got the build for it, actually. And I look at Saka and I think he's got the makings of a Clarence Seedorf. I really believe that. His stature, the way he holds himself, the strength, his ability to turn a man and get past them, and also strike the ball. I just think, and also create the ball. You know, he headed the. He's not a massive lad, but he headed the ball fantastically well the weekend, and his ability to find the right space or the right position in the right space is really, really good. So I would go with Aubameyang. I would. Sammy, you know I'm a big Zaha fan. If we brought in Zaha on that left-hand side, then maybe I would move Aubameyang to the centre. But we haven't sold Lacazette. I don't think we're going to. Who knows what happens in January? I think that formation's here to stay, and I don't think it's going to change that much. Let's find out what happens with Partey, because there is a big question around if you had Aouar and Partey, if you brought both in, how would you have played that in midfield? I guess we won't know. Was it one or the other, or was it both? Were we ever in for both?
I still think the formation is going to go to a 4-3-3 personally.
Yeah, it would feel that way. I mean, Partey would I guess prefer a central berth in that midfield. I guess we're going to find out pretty soon, aren't we? We got the international break for us all now to sweat over and pray that we get back to proper football. And then Arsenal will come back and we'll find out that first game, providing he plays it, of course, and not sit on the bench, which is probably likely. But yeah, I would keep Aubameyang on the left.
Stuart, we were talking about this after the shootout with Liverpool, and you were talking about it. You see it, but this club had a real swagger. All these players taking it. Pepe, Maitland-Niles. I mean, that's become a mindset. I mean, it's obvious from top to bottom. I mean, you see it. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it is. There. It is. You know when a player steps up to take a penalty, you just know if they're going to score or miss, don't you? It's only kind of that moment where the goalkeeper makes a phenomenal save that a player that is so confident is going to miss. You just know by the way the player is walking and the look of them, you can just tell whether they're confident or non-confident. And El Neni looked a little bit unconfident to me. When I saw him step up, I thought, "Oh, I'm not sure about this." And I didn't think his penalty was bad. A bad penalty is when you miss the target. Let's be right about that. He didn't miss the target. It was a good save. Could have been better, but then so could Joe Willock's. And, that went in. If that was saved, we'd all be saying, what a terrible penalty. There's no bad penalty if it goes in. But you can see the level of confidence on those players' faces. And when Ainsley Maitland-Niles steps up to take a penalty, I've never seen a more confident player. And you just wouldn't expect it, would you? You see him as that in that kind of left and right channel. You just would not expect that he'd be able to take a penalty of that ilk in that way. And he just strikes it so well. And throughout that team, we just don't look like we're gonna lose a penalty shootout. Utter confidence. But that stems from the manager. The manager gives them that. And they didn't have that under Emery. I can't say his name. Emery. Enemy. Under Enemy.
English
enemy tongue, but it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just wouldn't have seen that. I think the players are happy. They want to do a job for Arsenal. They see the vision. They see where they're headed. They see that it's exciting times. They see the players around them. They see Aubameyang signing on. They don't look at it and go, Arsenal were in the doldrums. They might look at Man United and think that. They might look at some other clubs and think, don't know what's going down the road, really. But you look at Arsenal and you think, it's positive. I want to play here. I want to be here. And that's why part of me thinks Bellerin, after all the talk of him leaving, might end up extending. And I hope he does. And I hope they send him out on loan. But Arsenal, we're all positive. So happy at the moment.
Yeah, just got a notification pop up. James Benger's just tweeted, the Partey deal is about 90% done, according to those close to it. Release clause triggered, personal terms agreed, medical finished, plenty of time for what is left. Fantastic news.
Wow,
it really is. Never in doubt if you follow the AFC Bell. Every Arsenal fan on the land